That kind of immediate rescue can be beneficial when combined with a longer-term investment.
How about aid to the states?
Well, one of the things that appears to be happening is just at the time that money is disappearing from circulation and contributing to a lot of these economic woes, states are cutting back, and when just the opposite should be happening. The expenditures for health care, for unemployment, for these counter-cyclical expenditures that when times are tough, you would like to see the state spend more, the states in general. But they're finding they're unable to do that because over the last decade, so much of the burden has been shifted to states that they've been operating at a, with no margin. And so if tax revenues fall a little bit because business turns bad, they aren't able to spend. And so, again, the federal government that has access to money that others don't, even by printing it if necessary, can inject some money for the states. And so it's perfectly appropriate, and in fact particularly effective, for some of the money to go through the states where they can spend it quickly and spend it, as I say, on these counter-cyclical purposes that are most needed when the economy is worst, or is worse. Yeah.
The discussion over the last several weeks leading up to the inauguration seemed to occur in a context in which it was assumed the worst financial shocks are behind us, and now the question is, how do we stimulate the economy?
Yeah, I don't think so, and I don't think the president thought so. Look, I have his text here. I mean, right after he expresses his humility and a little bit of the history, 44 or others, the first thing he says, we're in the midst of crisis now. A war against far-reaching network of violence and hatred. Our economy is badly weakened, a consequence of greed and irresponsibility, and our collective failure to make hard choices. I'm not exactly sure what he meant by that. Greed and irresponsibility, I think we all know what he meant by that. But, he goes on and on about how dire the circumstances are.
Well, I was going to say, right on the heels of the inauguration day was what looks to be an even deeper banking crisis.
Sure, and as he was saying this, the stock market was going down for a few percent, too.
As a member of Congress, what is your perception of the TARP and the attempts to solve the crisis so far, and what should they now turn to? It looks you get a sense that no one is quite sure what to do next, and that what's been done so far may not have been the solution.
I think that's right. No one is quite sure what to do now. What we've done up to now is not the solution. The troubled asset, so-called $700 billion bailout, the first half of that has been misspent, but I would say if it had not been appropriated, we would be in worse shape. So, it's a little paradoxical, a little hard to explain, but an awful lot of the economy has to do with confidence. And if the government have said, no, we're not going to stand behind these important economic institutions, things would have been worse. Still, the way the money was spent has not been good. It has not, taxpayers don't feel they've gotten value for their dollar. Now, it does look like it's still the case that maybe only 50, 60 $billion will be spent never to be recovered. Not to be recovered directly. Now, if we can get the economy going again, it'll be worth every penny. If we can get the credit market going again, it'll be worth every penny, even some of that's been misspent. But it looks as if even what's been misspent, we will have something to show for our dollars. And someday, year or two or three, taxpayers will in some way get that money back.
You're referring to the equity.
In the equity in the companies and that sort of thing, yeah. But it is important to separate the TARP, as it's called, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, from the economic recovery or stimulus program. They're related, but they're very different.
Would you say that the troubled assets have been relieved?
No.
I think that's one of the big
problems.
that exist.
I mean, if you go back to what I said last fall, and began saying somewhat earlier, or even last spring, but really harped on it last fall when we were asked on very short notice to pass this $700 package. I said, but you're not doing anything to go to the troubled assets. The troubled assets are the mortgages themselves, not the derivative financial instruments that have been made from those mortgages, but the mortgages themselves. And if you go to remedy that, you're not only putting a better foundation under the financial instruments here, but you're actually helping people, the people who are in the homes. Now, there was some pushback, and people said, well, why should you reward people who got in over their heads on a mortgage? You know, why do you want to bail them out? Well, the answer is because you don't want the whole neighborhood and the whole town to go down the tubes. You know, some people come to me and say, well, but I've been good with my mortgage. I was responsible. And I say, you know, bless you. And they say, but I don't want to help this guy down the street. And I said, you know, do you care about your property values? It would be nice to teach this guy down the street a lesson, but, you know, who got in over his head. But the person who will really pay is this dutiful homeowner, you know, who's kept his yard clean and painted his house and paid his mortgage on time. And his property taxes will go up and his property values go down.
Well, I'm
So anyway, let me just finish by saying what we've done this week in the House is rewrite the Troubled Asset Relief Program. We've put in more upfront accountability. Last fall, when we passed this, we put in quite a bit of after-the-fact accountability. So by next year, we will know how the money was misspent. We have a pretty good idea now of how the money will be misspent. But we don't get upfront accountability. So we can say, no, that's not what we had in mind. Don't spend it that way. Don't give it to a bank to acquire another bank and do nothing to lubricate the credit market and make credit available. So we did a number of things like that. We put caps on corporate executive pay. We made more of a point that some of the money has to go to help homeowners. In the previous TARP, that was a permitted expense, although the Treasury said, oh, we're not really sure that you made that a permitted expense. So this time we were completely clear about it, that not only may you help homeowners, you must help homeowners. So there are a number of fixes to, you know, the legislation that was passed in the fall was necessary. It was less effective than it could have been or should have been, partly because the Treasury officials just did not do what they said they were going to do.
Well, my question actually, you answered it in part because I was wanting to ask you, and it's a political question, how much you think the general public will take in terms of bailing people out. You probably read the news today, John Thain, who's was considered one of the real stars and actually a fairly straight shooter of the big guys on Wall Street, the whole notion of paying out bonuses a month early and misrepresenting effectively his Merrill Lynch to Bank of America. And so this is someone who was considered a white
Yeah.
knight, actually.
Yeah,
by Wall
I
Street.
don't know enough about this, but there were some things that went on. I'm not talking about Thane in particular. That were not criminal,
Right.
but they are just infuriating
Well,
to the public.
Yeah, and
And
I'll finish my question. Basically,
Yeah.
anyone who reads